Hello lovers of Westeros, I'm Ashley of Noth. Welcome to my channel. I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about two of my favorite things in A Song of Ice and Fire, Moqorro and dragons. I'm not going to waste any more time here because I'm so ready to talk about this, so let's jump in. Oh, wait. This was originally going to be one big long video, but because it got so long, as has often been the case with me, I have to split the video into two. So we are going to be covering part 1 here. In light of this, now let's jump in. Moqorro is a red priest in service of the Lord of Light who's been dispatched by the High Priest Benero to offer guidance and help to Daenerys Targaryen. While en route to Dany, Moqorro is on the same Qarth-bound ship as Ser Jorah and Tyrion. Moqorro knows this ship will never reach Qarth due to a ravenous storm, but it would still lead him to Slaver's Bay regardless. Prior to the ship's untimely demise, Moqorro led evening prayers. After one of these prayers, Tyrion strikes up a conversation with the Red Priest, asking him what he sees in the flames. Moqorro answers, "Dragons old and young, true and false, bright and dark, and you, a small man with a big shadow snarling in the midst of it all." This small passage is one of my favorites in any of the books because it tells us a lot with very few words. With regards to the first part, there are two ways to interpret the vision. One possible interpretation is that Moqorro is describing two people, a dragon that is old, true, and bright, and another that is young, false, and dark. The second possible interpretation of the vision is that every adjective represents a different dragon, and by dragons I mean people of Targaryen descent. Let's examine the first interpretation first. Now, I'd like to think the first interpretation, that Moqorro is seeing two dragons, is representative of the future dance with dragons between Daenerys and Aegon, especially when combined with the vision of Tyrion in the middle of them. I've said this previously in videos, Tyrion convincing Aegon to go to Westeros without Daenerys pit the two against each other and started the next dance with dragons. And Moqorro could have just seen what happened. However, because Dany and Aegon are both young, Dany actually being the younger of the two, I don't think this interpretation allows for the two dragons to be them. If I think of a dragon who's old, true, and bright, the first person who comes to mind is Maester Aemon. He was the oldest living person in Westeros. He was the son of Maekar Targaryen I and Diana Dane, so he's a true dragon. Aemon's intellect and bookishness are well known, hence the bright adjective. Having said that, Aemon died prior to Moqorro seeing this vision, so I'm not certain he's one of the dragons, because he can't contribute to the story in any real impactful way beyond someone recalling something he said once or a page that he designated in a book for someone to read. And I think the dragons that Moqorro saw are going to have a much bigger impact on the story than what Aemon would be relegated to at this point. Another person who comes to mind here is Bloodraven. Bloodraven is 23 years older than Maester Aemon, and Aemon was 102 at the time of his death, so Bloodraven is at least 125 years old. As his humble abode is outside the realm, I counted Aemon as the oldest person in the realm. Bloodraven, aka Brynden Rivers, is the legitimized bastard son of Aegon IV and Melissa Blackwood. Though he's a legitimized bastard, he's still a true dragon, in terms of being bright. Bloodraven appeared to be all-knowing, but this isn't due to superior intellect. It's widely rumored that he used a vast network of spies and sorcery to aid in his rule, and I suspect his sister lover Shira used a glass candle to help him. The bright could be a reference to a sigil, which is a white dragon on a black field. Now for the second dragon. Who do we know that's been purported as being a false dragon? That, ladies and gents, is young Griff, aka Aegon. I'll take this opportunity to state on the record that I think Aegon is a Blackfire. But wait, House Blackfire is a cadet branch of House Targaryen, so wouldn't Aegon still be a dragon? Yes, but he's still false as well. Allow me to elaborate. In A Song of Ice and Fire, what term is synonymous with Blackfire? Pretender. And if you Google, what's another word for pretend, and scroll down to the adjective section, you can see false is listed as an option. So Moqorro seeing a false dark dragon is likely him seeing a Blackfire pretender in the flames. I should mention I bridged the gap between Dark Dragon and Blackfire because House Blackfire's sigil is a black dragon on a red field. So they literally are dark dragons. I should also mention this isn't the first false dragon reference that can be linked to Aegon in the books. In A Clash of Kings, while in the House of the Undying, among other things, Daenerys is given multiple visions grouped in sets of 3. Each set of 3 visions is followed by a title for Daenerys that relates to the 3 things. One such title is Mother of Dragons, Slayer of Lies. So Daenerys will have to expose some lies. One such vision which accompanied that title is a cloth dragon swayed on poles amidst a cheering crowd. Later, after escaping the House of the Undying, Dany reflects on what she saw to Ser Jorah and the following exchange happens. What does any of it mean, Khaleesi? A mummer's dragon, you said? What is a mummer's dragon, pray? A cloth dragon on poles. Mummers use them in their follies to give the heroes something to fight. Interesting that Dany makes that connection, especially because later on in A Dance with Dragons, Quaid tells her this. Soon comes the pale mare, and after her the others, Kraken and Darkflame, Lion and Griffin, the sun's son, and the mummer's dragon. Trust none of them. Remember the Undying. What does all of this mean? It means that the dragon isn't real. One magical entity tells Dany she'll have to slay the lie of a cloth dragon swaying on poles. Then she thinks to herself that mummers use cloth dragons. Then Quaith, another seemingly magic entity, warns Dany of the mummer's dragon and implores her to remember the Undying, who told her she'd have to slay the lie of this cloth dragon she herself connects to the mummer. Do we know of a mummer who's currently using and supporting a young man he's claiming to be a dragon? Why yes, we do know of one, Lord Varys. In his youth, Varys was part of a company of traveling mummers. Lord Varys is also young Griff's, aka Aegon, aka Fagon's biggest supporter, having supposedly arranged a baby swap to save Aegon's life. Then Varys had the kid smuggled across the narrow sea and arranged his adoption, something which involved more elaborate scheming, might I add. From there, Varys has sowed discord amongst the great houses of Westeros, priming the 7 kingdoms for Aegon's conquest. In my assessment, there is no better fit than Aegon for this false dragon that's popping up in everyone's visions. As I've demonstrated, there's a strong association between Blackfires and a state of falsehood in A Song of Ice and Fire. But the notion of being false extends beyond this. Varys and everyone affiliated with young Griff are claiming young Griff is Rhaegar's son. If he's not truly Rhaegar's son, which I don't think he is, this too would make him false regardless of his Blackfire heritage. I think this is the lie the Undying referred to when they gave Dany the vision of the cloth dragon. She will expose that this Aegon and Rhaegar's Aegon are not the same person. Something else to consider when debating if young Griff is Rhaegar's son, which ties directly to something Moqorro saw in this false dark dragon, is the dragon's age. At the current point in the books, if Rhaegar's son had indeed survived, he'd be at least 18 years old. In the epilogue of A Dance with Dragons, young Griff is listed as a blue-haired lad of 18 years, so seemingly that's a fit. Yet, when Tyrion sees young Griff for the first time, he estimates young Griff's age to be 15 or 16. I don't know about y'all, but to me there's a big difference between how a boy's body looks when he's 15, 16 versus 18. You can decide for yourself which source you believe, but if Tyrion is correct, young Griff cannot be Rhaegar's son. Either way, young Griff would still be considered young, which fits what Moqorro saw in the flames. I've now talked myself into liking this interpretation, that Moqorro is seeing Bloodraven and Aegon, because Bloodraven has played an integral role in each of the Blackfire rebellions, always opposing the Blackfire pretenders, even killing the original Blackfire pretender, Daemon Blackfire, and Daemon's twin sons, and then later on, Aenys Blackfire, whom Bloodraven lured to King's Landing with the promise of allowing Aenys to peacefully participate in the Great Council of 233. Only, surprise, once Aenys entered King's Landing, Bloodraven had him arrested and subsequently beheaded. Moqorro seeing yet another Bloodraven-Blackfire conflict makes a lot of sense, assuming of course that Aegon Young Griff is indeed a Blackfire. If Bloodraven opposed all other Blackfire pretenders, why not this one? Now I think this is a good stopping point for part 1. If it is Moqorro seeing 2 dragons, I like the idea that he's seeing Bloodraven and Aegon because of Bloodraven's history with previous Blackfire pretenders. If there is another old true bright versus young false dark dragon combo you like, let us know down in the comments. Coming up in part 2, we'll discuss the other interpretation of the first portion of Moqorro's vision, that every adjective refers to a different dragon. In addition, we'll discuss how Tyrion factors into all of this, as Tyrion was distinctly included in Moqorro's vision. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and join my Khalasar. I'm Ashley of Knot. Thank you for watching.